Hello, everyone. How are we all doing today? We have another very special episode planned for you today with a focus around health and wellness. And I'm so excited to invite on a good friend of mine and someone that I've worked with for a long time, a lady called Laura Beckford. Now, she has the most incredible wellness business that some of you might know called Supernova Living, as she's part of our sponsorship on our podcast. And this is a woman that is just does so much. She's got an amazing kids casting agency. She's got she multitasking motherhood, and she used to be a TV presenter as well. So I'm so excited for this conversation. We're going to dive straight in and welcome Laura to the show.
Oh, hello. I'm like a Cheshire cat. It's like a fake grinning. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have a chat with you, though. Like-minded people and such a like-minded community. And yeah, everything health. We could talk for hours, I'm quite sure.
Thank you so much for coming on and welcoming Claire as well.
Thank you, guys. So happy to have you here, Laura, because I've tasted one of your products and it is amazing, which we will talk about further on into the podcast. But yeah, a really warm welcome from me as well.
Thanks so much.
How are you today, lovely? Like, have you had a nice day so far?
Yeah, me or Claire? I'm not sure.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, really good, really good. Thursdays, I have a meeting with my mentor, which I don't know about you, but I think it's so important and it really kind of keeps me sane and driven with my business, with one of my businesses. And always on a Thursday morning, I've got half an hour between the school run and my mentor meeting. So I always go for a walk on the beach. So I went,
lovely.
I'm really grateful that I live really close. I was brought up near the beach. So I think we kind of, came back to the beach. We live about 15-20 minutes away and the kids' school's right by the beach. So I go and do some grounding. My feet were like ice this morning. Walking on I think it's doing me good. It's doing me good. It's fine. But it's just, I love the vastness. I love it. It kind of puts life into perspective. The silence, it's like the meditative sound of the waves and the sand between your toes. I know it sounds a bit cliche, but I genuinely, that half an hour in the morning is so good for me.
And when you say you went to your mentor, can I touch on that? So you've got a mentor. Was this somebody a friend or someone you met through business or just independent? What does that look like?
Honestly, I feel like I manifested it. I've always done kind of manifestation. I know you've done a podcast on it, obviously, but I won't touch on it too much then. But ever since I was a child, Mum and I used to, Mum used to say, right, go and visualize a parking spot. And we used to do it. This was kind of 40 years ago, 35 years ago. So at one point in the business, I was so overwhelmed, and I was like, I can't, as a founder on your own, especially a bit of a cliche, but female founder, you're expected to do everything. And I was a bit overwhelmed. It's like, I need some help, just support, just some guidance from someone that's been there, that's been through the highs and lows. And I just obviously you've got to take action to manifest. You can't just sit there and do nothing. But I reached out and this amazing guy who's kind of had this incredible business, and I see him every week. And honestly, I'd put the business sticking together because of him, because he just keeps me on track and keeps me motivated. So I'm really grateful.
I think we all need that, don't we? We need someone just to keep us like a regular thing that we do, whether it's seen a yoga teacher mentor or a health coach or a personal trainer or whatever it is, whatever goals you have. It's so easy to lose track of them, and I think you need someone to keep you structured and forward and disciplined. And that's amazing. I've been looking for someone to mentor, or just a business coach for a while. It's hard to find the right person, isn't it, sometimes?
Incredibly hard. And I've never had one for Ology because it's my brother and I. So I think if you're in someone with it, it's a little easier. But with Supernova, I'm predominantly on my own. Obviously, we started it with Jermaine and he's super busy doing TV stuff now. So I'm definitely driving. It's just nice, like you say, to have that focus, that weekly.
Yes.
And most of the week I'll be saying, I've done this, it's really exciting. But some weeks I'll go, I just feel like I've done nothing. And I'll always come out on a high because you'll always bring me up. So I would definitely recommend, anybody that, and like you say, it's not easy. It's not as easy as you think. But if you put it out there, manifest it, the universe will bring it to you. So
let's talk about manifestations because actually everybody wants to know like any secrets or any nuggets that you could share, anything that you do that possibly no one, other people don't do. Is there have you got any tips for people out there? Or is it just that you visualize and manifest
I think it's funny, isn't it? Like I said, I've been doing it again subconsciously from my family for literally 30, 40 years. And And then one of our ambassadors was, so I've read The Secret, obviously, the magic, Rhonda. So again, I've, put those kind of things, the processes into practice, the law of attraction. And then one of our Supernova ambassadors was Roxy Nafusi, who has obviously changed the game for manifestation, because she's brought it to, modern society and made it a bit more accessible and a bit cooler for people, which is great. I think she's done a great job with it. And I think it's just those basic fundamentals. I do believe in the law of attraction. I do believe in vibrational energy, which is exactly what Supernova is about, raising your vibrational energy with thoughts, with gratitude, with what you're putting in your body, how you're thinking. And I think if you put that out there, I think it's a similar concept to me. This is how I perceive it, as what you put out, you get back. And I think if you're putting that energy out there, then that's what your focus is on. So it's the same thing as a vision board. If you've got something on your kitchen wall every day, that's where your energy is going to be going. So that's what you're going to be looking for in your world, and that's what energy is going to be coming back to you.
You're right. Your brand, though, when it even says higher, is it higher your vibration, or what does it say on the pack?
Raise your vibration,
raise your vibration. And it is like what I love about when you go through your Instagram channels as well, and how you promote yourself. It's not just about a product, it's about a lifestyle choice, and it's about, hey, come on now, we can do this together, we can get up, we can be motivated, we can have action. And it's I suppose your product itself is about daily rituals, because you're having it every morning.
Totally.
Setting yourself up for the day with adaptogenic herbs. And perhaps you could tell us like how you got into all this. Like, were you always very health conscious? And were you, because I know your husband Jermaine was a Premiership footballer as well, and I'd love you to tell a story. How did you two get into this?
Of course. I mean, like you say, with it being a lifestyle, I think it was a natural progression, because not only the powders, we've got this 10-day reset, which people sometimes think that Supernova is just powders, but the plan and the intention is always a wellness company, because powders are brilliant. They make a great change to how you feel. But ultimately, it's a lifestyle. If you have a powder in the morning, then sit and watch TV and have McDonald's at night, you're not going to feel great, So it is these daily rituals of, and I'm a big believer that you can create your own happiness to the majority, to the greater extent, through daily rituals, through positive thinking, through actions. You can, create your own happiness, which is more of where Supernova is going, and how we try to live our daily life. Like you said, for me, it's been a lifestyle forever. I was brought up on homeopathy.
Wow, that's great.
My family have been vegetarian, not necessarily plant-based forever, but now we are. But yeah, I'm vegetarian. I was brought up vegetarian. So we were always the ones looking for those weird little cafes in the Lake District, and used to have, do you remember homeopathy pie? My brother's we're cracking up now. It was this weird little, like, 35 years ago. It was like basically garlicky mashed potatoes, and that's what we always used to have, this homeopathy pie. And
because there wasn't much choice back then, was there? Like when I went vegan about 10 years ago, even then there wasn't. So when I speak to my uncle who's been vegan for 40 years, it's like, you don't know how lucky you are nowadays. You can get so many things, and organic and fresh from our supermarkets, like tempeh and all this stuff. So,
yeah. So for me, it's always been kind of a lifestyle, which I didn't realize too much until later in my life, and people would be questioning it, and that's one of the reasons that started Supernova, because people would constantly be asking me, oh, my child's sick, what do you do? I don't really want to give them Calpol, or well, what do you eat if you don't eat wheat or meat? Can you send me some recipes? So as constantly getting these messages, which I loved, helping and inspiring friends and family. I thought maybe there's something here that I could spend more of my time and my life doing, because it's a passion. And then the catalyst, like you said, Jermaine, when I met Jermaine, we're from completely different backgrounds. We're like chalk and cheese. How we're together, we've been together 17 years. I have no idea. These opposites attract, it must be, mustn't it? So he was brought up very much like very little home cooking. And when we met, his pre-match meal was Chicago town pepperoni pizza and Fanta.
Oh my gosh.
And wow. and so
before a big game, like this is when he's playing
the so obviously we kind of tried to help and adapt that and just educate and teach him, and as soon as he I was like, it's not really gonna benefit your game. That I was trying to obviously educate and help him with all the nutritions. And then a good few years down the line, he was coming home, and it's a bit of a thing in the football industry. The wives would say, oh, they're having a nap again. You know, they go training in the morning, then you have a nap in the afternoon. Like, how lovely, what a lovely, lovely life, you know, as an adult having a nap in the afternoon. So obviously when we're at early 20s, it's no big thing, you know, then you go out at night. But then as soon as I had children, it's like, you are having a laugh. No way are you having a nap in the afternoon and I'm running around with the kids. So I kind of looked at everything, and obviously the diets, usually at the clubs, at Premiership clubs, millions, they've got private chefs, you know, they're sending him with all sorts of incredible foods. Even when he said he was plant-based, they still were very good. He did get a bit of stick, but they were still quite good. So I said, why are you still so drained when you come back? Like, fair enough, you've run a few miles, but you know, you're a young, fit guy. But he was like drained, his energy. So I said, right, tell me about your day. He says, oh, you know, I take the shake, just got the shake. I'm like, right, that's got to be it.
So is this just a standard like whey protein, or was it like
yeah? So I said, bring back, show me, go and take the. He said, oh, we just get given it like this. I said, right, go in the back, you know, go in the room and bring me back.
Get the packaging.
Yeah, get the packaging. So he did. He's like, you know, sneaking it in his coat. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, bin it. Like, you're never having that again. It was absolute rubbish. And it was
they're full of sugar, aren't they, these days? I can't believe when I look in stores or at gyms, like, I think yours is the first one I've come across that literally doesn't have sugar in. Like, they all pat them out with sugar. It's so bad.
And the thing is, you'd probably expect that if you went to kind of Holland and Barrett, or you went to a supermarket, you know, of course it's everywhere. It's easy to make. But at Premiership, you know, Championship clubs, I felt really stupid, actually, because I trusted them. And I thought, of course, they're going to be the best. They're spending millions and millions on these players. So felt a bit naive, sent it back, and literally got together in the kitchen. I was like, right, you need protein, you need X amount of protein. It's got to be pure. It's got to be vegan. It's got to be this. He was getting stomach ache. So I like obviously ditched the whey, ditched the creatine. And then he's, you know, as everybody does in life, he was having some issues with either the other players or the manager, or, you know, the stress of having 50,000 people, you know, having expectations of you. So that's right, ashwagandha for stress. Did loads of research on these incredible adaptogens and herbs and superfoods, and you need to boost your immunity because you've been depleted every day. You know, you such extreme exercise, right? Let's get the highest form of vitamin C in the world, camu. So read some great reports around black maca, which supports prostate. Thought, right, there's, you know, that's not in any kind of protein supplement for guys, and realized very, very quickly that we need, as humans, but athletes, anybody needs far more than just protein. And there wasn't a supplement out there that wasn't the whole complete supplement. And especially Jermaine, I don't know if it's the same with your partners, but Jermaine is not one to kind of get 10, you know, tubs out of the
no, mine definitely not.
Let's put a bit of this and a bit of, it's like, boom, let's go. So I thought if I could create a powder that he would take with 2 scoops in the morning with milk, and it'll de-stress him. It works with his neurological system, his adrenal system, his endocrine system. It'll boost his energy. It'll help the depletion of the muscles with so much extreme exercise. Then we did that. So we did it. And then literally within a week or so, because they're all strapped up, aren't they? And they're all monitored. There's huge boards, everything from VO2 max levels, heart rate, recovery. The coach came over and said, Jay, I've noticed you're not having the powders, but your stats have gone through the roof. What are you doing? Which was so good for us, especially in hindsight, because it was a quantitative measurement of the powder.
This is working. Yes, I bet you were celebrating then.
Honestly, it was like a light bulb. It was like, yes, like we've done it. And he wasn't coming back. And then he would say, he came back a few days and he's like, should we go and take the kids on a bike ride? I was like, oh my God, do you not need a nap? You know, should we go for a walk? And I thought, this is literally life-changing. I've got my husband back. You know, he's not grumpy. He's not like down from the sugar high, which is obviously what it was from the sugars. He's not got stomach ache because of the whey. His digestive system's better. And then he would say all the other guys are basically in the toilet before they go home because of the stomach problems. I thought, this is insane. Like, nobody's talking about this.
I think it's not talked about much, like the effects. I mean, how much I see people, I go to the CrossFit gym a lot and yoga studios, and how much people actually drink this stuff, protein shakes and things, but standard ones like whey protein. And I don't think a lot of people realize we don't actually need like that much crazy amount of protein a day. No. We get a lot from our foods anyway, especially, you know, if you eat a lot of plant-based foods and different things. but they feel the need to like stock up on these proteins. And what I like about your product is you're not pushing the protein side of things. It's more the adaptogens and the adaptogenic herbs and how they benefit the body, instead of just let's all go we're like a country that's protein mad, aren't we?
Well, it's crazy. You know what I mean? As I said, we put the protein in because it was predominantly made for Jermaine, and then all the other guys, and he was running 15K a day, 20K a day, so he needed
and
that,
he does need it. He does need extra, because most of us aren't these premiership ultra athletes, which fair enough. Like, I do believe that if you're doing training like 6 times a week and you're running up loads amount of miles, you do need extra protein, of course. But for a lot of us that don't do that much, we need a more of a balanced powder, something that you can take daily.
Absolutely. And the protein is so superfluous to me. It doesn't really interest me. It's the other stuff in it that I'm passionate about, and that's so powerful and can really, change the way the makeup of your body and make you feel better. So it's a massive passion of mine, because I know both Jermaine and I felt hugely better from it. It changed our lifestyle. Because we weren't constantly tired or up and down from the insulin levels going crazy. And
did other people start to adapt it then? So did you find the other players, were they like, I want a bit of that?
So did the players. It was hilarious, because Jay would say, I need another one. Can you make me another bag? And he was going in like, giving like little secret packages to him. And then the coaches were like, all right, so half the players are not having our protein now. So we got it informed sport tested to make sure. I mean, I knew it was all okay stuff, because there was no chemicals or anything in it. And obviously we got it informed sport tested, so it was fine for athletes. Could you imagine if they got drug tested and what the whole team is like? So and then all the wives were asking me, and I wanted this great feeling, so I developed the women's one. And
did it take a while then to get it all to go through the side of packaging and getting it all set up from day one? Is that something that Jermaine was involved in as well from the start, or was this mostly you doing it?
Yeah, we were both totally involved in it. Probably took about 18 months, because I was incredibly pedantic. I only realized a couple of years ago that you could have something called a white label product, which didn't even know existed. And apparently you can go to a factory and just say, make me a protein powder, and they'll just make it. Never knew that. I went absolutely around the world, not even the houses. I went around the world to go and find the best products, the ones that aren't isolated with chemicals, that aren't radiated, that are, isolated from water, from centrifugation, rather than other methods of processing.
I can't believe the difference, like with owning a healthy vegan cafe myself. I order a lot of stock, right? And I've ordered from multiple suppliers. Sometimes suppliers run out, say if I'm getting matcha or maca powder, and the difference in the quality from just one different supplier can be massive. Like, we had a matcha the other day that was just tasted so bitter, and I could tell the quality was just off. I was like, right, we're not ordering that again.
Wow.
Check it's organic, check. And it's interesting, you've really got to be so selective, haven't you? So I loved when we first met and you told me, obviously our cafe supplies Supernova in all our smoothies and things, but and we love it and we get so much great feedback. But I love how much detail you've gone into, because there's a lot of people when they start a business, it's kind of the bottom line and keeping things as cheap as possible, and let's just sell as much as we can. But your focus was on, I'm going to get out there, check where the best growers are, where the best sources are for these ingredients. And I think that makes you so unique as a business owner.
I think because of initially it was just for Jermaine and I, and it was to make his performance better. He was getting injured, and it was to really try and help heal him. So I think that it was kind of not even integrity. It was because I'm so pedantic about what we put in our bodies, and I wanted to heal him, that we only got the best. And it was, like you say, the money was no option, because we had to heal him.
That's amazing.
And so my business manager now wouldn't have been happy, because our markup's not great. but I know I can sell that product wholeheartedly and say it's the best. I know it's the best.
Yeah, because, this is it. That's what you want, and you want a good quality product. That's what we try and do at Wild and Wild as well. Really get good quality stuff. Yeah, so many people these days don't focus on that, and
I think if you live in that's it's my life now, and I work on it every day, and I wouldn't want to be selling something that I'm not like wholeheartedly behind and agree with, and I take every day, you know.
And
it
it's
just
so
makes life
inspiring,
easy.
you two, that you're both vegan, that your kids, you're raising your kids pretty much plant-based. And like, I love how when I see on your page, you know, you inspire me a lot. Like when I see, like the other day, it was like, oh, the kids have just helped me prep like a chia pudding for the morning. And I was like, yes, like that's so nice that you know, you get together and you do it with your children. And there's so many parents just like quick, like, you know, breakfast cereal in the morning, let's get out to school. And I think not that that's a bad thing. I know that people, it's tough times we live in and everyone's very busy and it's a busy world, but you seem to put so much heart and soul into your prep and the food that you give your children. So I wondered, is that something that's always come naturally, or do you try and like,
I think honestly, I never want to give the impression that it's easy, because I do struggle, and life is overwhelming for everybody. I think it's just a matter of priorities. I think someone said to me once, I'll never say you've not got time. It's just not your priority. And I think it's true.
So true. I was literally, so I went to our, you know, our Tuesday tribe yoga the other day, and I nearly didn't go because I was in the morning. I was like, I've got so much to do. I've got, you know, we had loads of podcast prep and things, and I nearly didn't make myself go to this class. And after the whole class were talking, like, it's this time concept is a funny thing, isn't it? Because sometimes you just feel like, I'm so busy, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time for yoga. But you know what? You have to make the time. You have to fit it in, because you'll be a better mother, a better partner, a better friend. You know, you'll feel like you can get more done. Like I always feel a bit, don't you find a bit foggy headed if you've not had that little bit of time for yourself in the morning, like you said about that beach walk? It grounds your energy, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I'm very foggy headed at the moment because I've got a 10-week-old who keeps gate crashing my podcasts. But she's
here today. She's here today. Which
she's here. That's why I've been a bit quiet. I muted myself because she was gurgling away in the background.
It's a magical time though. It's a magical.
It is. It really is. And actually, I've got a 2.5-year-old, and I want to talk to you about you've just launched another part of your Supernova brand. What? Yes.
Honestly, I could cry talking about this product. This is my third baby, genuinely,
because
it's been 2 years in the making. I think much longer than that in my subconscious and my thoughts. But we've been trying to do it for 2 years. And this is, I've never once think that this is going to make me millions, but I just had an instinct that I had to do it because I'm so passionate about children's health. And the more and more that I've seen, you know, the kids having Lucozade after football, my son's football, and you know, friends that I brought our kids up together for the last 10 years, and we were on the same page, and we were giving rice cakes and apple and grapes, and now they're giving them Coke. And I'm just thinking, I need to change this. I need to not change, but I need to try and do something about it. And again, 100%. This is just one product, but the intention is the whole children's lifestyle wellness, you know.
So is the line called Future then, the kids brand?
So the division is called the Future. So the future of wellness, ultimately. And then this is called the Power Blend. So I have developed 3 powders, but the other 2 aren't quite ready yet. I felt this one was ready. We did lots and lots of testing.
I think I was your pipeline. I think I should be your key tester, because I got all the kids, I lined them up. I was like, come on, let's try it. And you know, mine can be really picky. Well, my middle child, Jesse, he loved it. It was
I was waiting there.
No, really loved it and he's really picky, like with smoothies and things that I make. But because it was easy enough just to shake in a milk, and we use like the Rude Health milks or different things, and he absolutely loved it. And my little boy, he always asks for it. Chocolate milk, they call it chocolate milk. But I know, obviously, we know that it's got all the amazing adaptogenic herbs in. And maybe we could touch on that. So which ones are there in there for kids?
Well, in the kids one, I had to be really careful. Again, we worked with really the top industry standard of naturopathic nutritionalist and medical herbalist, because there's not really, you know, there's no kind of standardization in the industry for supplements, which is crazy. And I obviously, my nature is just to be extremely pedantic and have very high expectations on making sure it's the best and making sure it's the safest. And, you know, again, I just want to have integrity when I'm promoting it. So it's got wild chaga in it. So that is the one adaptogen in here. So it's cacao, quinoa, hemp, coconut nectar, agave inulin, chaga. And that's kind of it, you know.
Well, that in itself, like how many kids are having chemo every day, hemp every day,
you know what?
chaga, mushrooms, like mushrooms in itself, the B vitamins they bring us. And I mean, I watched that documentary. Is it Magic of Mushrooms or something?
No, Fantastic.
Oh,
This
yes.
Fantastic Fungi, which is a great documentary.
That's the one. Yes.
But what age can children take?
So we've been advised to say from 4+. Now, sorry, Claire, I know the reason of this is because I wanted to, again, like all 3 powders, one of our USPs is I want to make sure that the levels in it have a significant effect on your body. So, you know, the amount of, my brother brought a can of, you know, it was still sparkling water with maca in it the other day. I thought, oh, it's lovely marketing. Looked at the back, 0.00002% maca. And I thought, it's purely just, you know, jumping on the adaptogenic bandwagon. But I wanted to make a product that really made a difference. I wanted people to have it and feel better from it. So that's why we put the maximum daily allowance of chaga in it for children. So there's a significant amount, and it will really boost their immunity. It will really balance them. And they said from 4, whilst your immune system's still growing, not to advise not to do that. But I mean, it's an organic whole food supplement. So
it's a tricky one, isn't it, with kids? Because I remember when I first had River like 8 years ago, and there was a bit of a funny thing about nuts, wasn't there? Like nut butter, peanut butter. But now they really advise for them to have peanut butter earlier. But then if you think about how much they advise something like Calpol, which actually has so many horrible fillers in, sugar, sucrose, all these are just all sorts. Or like the kind of amount I find really shocking is I teach baby yoga and kids yoga. And honestly, the amount of drugs and like supplements that these kids are on, that I don't know how much they've been regulated and tested. But then we look at a natural thing from the ground, you know, that will probably be very healthy. But I get what you're saying. It's probably good to wait just to check they haven't got any reactions or anything to it.
Yeah. And like you're saying, that is my absolute passion. And that's where I want to go with it. A complete children's wellness brand, because my passion is, like, my children don't have antibiotics. They don't have Calpol. They're brought up on homeopathy. Not to say that they never will, you know, there may be a time when they do need that. But my priority is to keep them, you know, as pure as possible. And like you said, the plants are so powerful. And I see that was one of my catalysts for it. You know, so many of my friends, children's friends, are on inhalers, or they're on antibiotics, or they're on steroid cream, or they're on, you know, also anxiety stuff. It's so young. And I think, oh gosh,
well, everything's on the rise. I mean, asthma, ADHD, all these, there's so many, like, learning difficulty, but there's so much stuff going on. But you kind of wonder, is this impacted by the amount of junk food that's readily available? I mean, for those families that are struggling, that maybe are on, you know, have a limit a day that they can spend as well, it doesn't help that all these big companies are giving away, you know, burger deals and all these things. And I think it's all comes down to education, doesn't it, at the end of the day? Like,
well, yeah. And again, that's what we are going around food banks with these, and we're giving everybody in a food bank some to kind of boost the immune system. And for every pack sold, we give a free meal to the Magic Breakfast. So for children that are suffering, or they're struggling with kind of food deprivation, or you know, struggles, then at least they can get some kind of goodness in them. So yeah, it's just, I just genuinely want to kind of raise awareness.
That's beautiful. I mean, if you think about priorities as well, like, you know, these things aren't cheap when we get medication as well, like Calpol and things from the shop, like things. Sometimes I think, like, what would you recommend? Because I know when my kids are poorly, even just turn into some little drops like echinacea or homeopathy, and you can buy these things quite at an affordable rate. I mean, like, I've signed up for your kids' subscription of the powders, and it's, you know, I know that I could be spending on a lot of rubbish other things like snacks and that wouldn't do them good.
Yeah,
it's choosing where you prioritize, where you spend on your kids, I think.
Okay, yeah, I think it's back to priorities again, and my priority is prevention and keeping yourself healthy, because again, another little cliche quote I read, I'm rubbish at remembering quotes properly, but it's something like, if you don't make time for your wellness, you'll be forced to make time for your illness. You know, people will say, oh, I haven't got time to make a healthy meal, but if you don't, you might be forced to wait in a, you know, hospital for 6 hours and be seen there, so then you've got no choice. So like you say, it's just priorities. Yeah,
it's exactly it. I love that Hippocrates quote, like, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food as well. It reminds you that at the end of the day, this is something that's going to help us down the line. And especially at this key stage, they say, especially from 4 onwards to 7 is like such a key stage of a kid's life where they're growing in the immunity, their social skills. This is the time that we need to radiate them full of their, I always say 10 a day or 20 a day, because it shouldn't just be 5 a day, should it?
Oh gosh, no, not a 5 a day for breakfast and the smoothie, isn't it? And that's why we called it the power. You know, I really want to empower children to learn about their own wellness and their health and what can heal them, and that food is not just, you know, you just shove it down. It's to heal your body. You know, I'll say to my daughter was nervous going to an exam the other morning, and she said, I can't breathe. So we create this little toolkit, you know, right? You do your box breathing, you do your positive affirmations. I put ashwagandha in a smoothie in the morning. But I'm hopefully educating her that she's got the power to control these things. There's going to be these situations in life, aren't there? But we all have,
of course,
that you feel out of control, or, you know, situations happen out of your control. And I think it's just important to empower everybody. But, you know, if we can help empower children to learn that things can heal them naturally and make them feel better ultimately. I think everybody just wants to feel better, don't they? Everybody's got some things that are going on, whether it's anxiety or physical or, you know, some kind of stress or depression. Everybody wants to feel better. So if we can learn these techniques to help them, and especially children, then that's going to be a positive, surely.
I think I need you in our house. Like, it sounds like having those positive rituals with kids. It's so nice, though. It's like, I wish they'd bring this into schools and stuff more. And do you have any like little rituals like this, Claire, that you do with yours? Like,
not at the moment. I mean, at the moment, it's chasing a toddler that's 2.5 around, trying to pin him down to brush his teeth, and juggling the 10-week-old. But
this comes later, to be fair, like with the, you know, when the anxiety and school stress and these little things, I think it's like at the moment when the toddlers are just, it's all about you. They want your attention all the time, don't they? And
but I think
like mummy.
At the moment, we're wanting to do potty training with him, but we're letting him lead that a little bit more because he's got some sort of anxiety around it. And I'm wondering where that's come from, because it's not come from me or Emmett. So I'm like, so where's he got that from? Because we're very positive about everything that we do. We try to explain everything because he understands so much. And I don't think we give these little people enough credit to, you know, how much they can take on. Obviously, you don't want to overload them with all your problems or anything like that. But certainly they are so susceptible to so much. And they talk about that in the media, how open they are. But I mean, obviously, as soon as he reaches the correct age to take your powder, I'll be giving him it, because I really want him to be, obviously we're plant-based, he's plant-based. Right. And I want him to be taking the best that he can. Yes, we have treats. Yes, we have all the snacks and things like that as well. But we do lead a very healthy lifestyle. I mean, he'll grab broccoli trees and just chomp on them, you know. And he's very, you know, he sees them as good as a burger would be or something like that. He doesn't separate them. So I don't know. But
about you two. Like, I find that if you just have it, you know, if you just make a load of like a big board of like a platter of healthy stuff and just have it out all the time, I think that's the best thing. Because if you don't have something they can readily snack on, like them little broccoli trees or whatever, they just go snack and reach for the cupboard, because it's like that instant. They just think it'll be quick and easy.
That's a great hack, just to make like a little graze tray when they come home from school. Yeah, great. I used to do that, actually. I've just remembered I don't do that anymore.
Honestly, I do it every day when they get home, and I just have it, and I know they're going to run straight into the living room, because it's the only time we let them go on the screens a little bit, because I think, you know, they have had a long day and they can chill out a little bit. They're obsessed with some games on this. Have you heard of this Roblox thing? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was going to let them go on it, but I was like, I'll give them some time on only the nice parts of the game. And they go on because they know that each other have avatars in it, so they can play with each other, which is quite cute, but I have to just monitor it a bit. But then I have this massive spread, and because they're concentrating as well in the game, they just munch literally about 5 different fruits and vegetables, and it's great.
Consciously.
They're just like, well, I probably should not have the screen on, but you know, if it'll get the veg in, I don't care.
No, well, again, I think most children as well might subconsciously eat bad food. You know, they'll just be picking at crisps or biscuits or cake, you know, and not eat the pure crisps, but do it mindfully, you know, and acknowledge what you're doing.
And that gives them then a good hour then till I have time to make dinner. Because I find if you don't give them that healthy snack, they're literally at your leg like, I need a snack. Come on. When's dinner? And then at least they've had something, fill them up, and they can be a bit more patient.
Great idea. Yeah.
Ask you about, because obviously this day and age, we can't really escape from the media and the screen times, and they're even bringing iPads and stuff into schools now. I know yours are probably at an age when they're interested in it more. Do you have limits on it? How do you balance it?
Yeah, massive limits. Although my son was doing his time, they had a times table competition at school the other day. And so he kept saying, I'm gonna he was getting up, whole week he was getting up early to go on his iPad. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is awful. But he's doing his times tables competition.
Oh, bless him.
They got points, and it was how he, top 10 in the year, and all how, what level was he at and how many coins had he got. And I was thinking, it's quite
That's
good.
Good. That was good. Yeah.
Doing his timetables. But then I was worrying, well, is he doing his timetable, or is he going on Roblox, or is he? So we do have a very strict limit every day. Like you say, sometimes yesterday I was working on Ology, and it was absolutely manic, and they sent me the little request that goes, can I have some more time, please? I was like, yeah, that's fine.
So do you limit them on the iPad then? Because that's I'd learned about these special devices you can get as well that don't have, so it's like they're not having their own phone, but they like just have a little bit of some apps on there that you can monitor, and you can set the time they're allowed. That's what I think I need to do on mine. I need to set the time, because they could just play for hours, couldn't they? And then you have to really monitor it.
And I do really find that, especially if I'm, making dinner, or I'm doing some emails after school, or like they'll do the homework in, 10 minutes. And then, like you say, I'll let them go on for 10 minutes. But if they have been on for longer than that, they get into this weird zombie state, and they'll switch more easily. And like you say, I think both of mine message the school friends on it, because neither of them have a phone, which I'm really putting my foot down. I joked.
That's good. No, that's good though.
I joked with my daughter when she was about 7, and one of her friends had got a phone at 7, and she's like, when can I have a phone? And I said, when you're 14, you can have a phone, a bit flippantly, like I'm going to get to 14. And bless her, she's nearly 11. She's like, I've only got 3 more years.
Oh, that's so cute.
I was like, yes, she still thinks that. So that's so who knows? I'm not sure I'll get to 14, but
well, I listened to this podcast the other day on the Ellen Fisher podcast about screen times. It's a guy that literally does all the training on kids' safety with like Google and all these big techs. It's a really good podcast. And I was like in shock. Like this guy was like, I don't give my kids phones until they were at least like you said, 14, 15. But he has these special, like to keep an eye on them, where, or to keep, this watch, like not a tracker, sorry, like a phone. So they can always have a phone available, but it doesn't have all the apps on. I thought that was quite a clever idea. So they can always contact you and get in touch if they wanted to. I think it's the
Wi-Fi. It's the radiation that bothers me. Well, and the the dumbing down and the blue light, but I think it's the radiation that's really, and the lack of communication, and it does genuinely bother me. It
stimulates them as well, doesn't it? Because I find that if they've been on over an hour, then they get really aggravated, and like you go over like, oh, let me take it off you, and they get quite like angry about it. It becomes, I suppose it does release dopamine in the brain, and we want them to release dopamine in other ways, like when we have go outside in nature and we have a lovely yoga class or mindfulness. But again, when we live in such busy lives, it's getting the balance, isn't it? And
I'm all about balance. Obviously, Supernova adaptogens, all about balance. People, and you said, oh, they're one of the healthiest people. I'm all about balance. Honestly, I will have the chocolate, but then I'll have a green juice. So yeah.
Oh, and tell us about, because I don't know that much, even though I've known you for a long time. I know all about Supernova and everything as well. But tell me more about your kids' casting agency then, because that's something you just sneak in there. I mean, amazing, like how you've built up this, and then maybe a little bit, you could just go into your story, like, because you used to be a TV presenter as well. How did it go from like the TV presenting to then the kids casting and then this? So could you just give us a bit of backstory? How did you get into all this?
Yeah, of course. So I used to sing and dance and act like since I was 4, one of those kids that just went every night, to do ballet exams. And then at 13, I got spotted at my dance school. This is not Italia Conti. This is a little dance school in Blackpool.
Oh, nice.
And this guy from cable at the time, so like similar to Sky, was doing this show, and it was reviewing movies for cable. He said, oh, I think you'd be great. So I used to do that every week, and I'd go to the movies, and then I'd hold my microphone and go, I think this was a great show. And that used to be on TV. So I did that for a while. And then then they developed it. And I was doing all sorts, like, come and see my, very much like bloggers now, you know, come and see what's in my wardrobe. And this was going out on, you know, whatever, channel 132 or whatever. So that gave me a real education into, or experience in the industry. And then at 16, I decided I wanted to be a TV presenter. This is what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I was in Oxbridge at school, and like the school were like, you're going to Oxford or Cambridge, you know, this is what my dad was obviously made up. And at 16, I said, actually, I'm going to be a TV presenter.
Oh, wow. That's a big decision.
I know. And luckily, God, my mum, it was just adorable. They paid for private school for all these years. And looking now from a parent's perspective, yeah, I can think now, like, oh my gosh, like, she's absolutely nuts. You know, who's going to make it? Millions of people that want to do this. And my dad was a bit like, I think you should go to uni, you know. And anyway, I applied for a job, and it was to take over from Fearne Cotton on a show called Diggit on GMTV, which is a live magazine style show on a Saturday and Sunday morning. And I got it out of 10,000 people.
Oh my gosh. And was there like quite strict like auditions and things for that then?
Oh yeah, there was like really intense, several rounds, and it was all like Sylvia Young was there and some other big producer. And so yeah, I was magically very lucky to get it. And then moved to London at 17 and went on the live shows and was interviewing, you know, Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys. And
that's so great. I bet that was such a good experience. I mean, how was it for your confidence at the time? Like, were you quite a confident teenager then because you had been doing this a little bit already?
Do you know what? Weirdly, I was the one that wouldn't go in the drama class at school. I wasn't that precocious kid at school that was always like the lead of the plays at all. I just loved to dance. So I was confident dancing on stage, and then I got this experience with this presenting. So I was confident of presenting. Even now, you know, you have me to go and talk on stage, I would hate it. But put me in front of a TV camera, I'm fine. So confidence was okay, but then inevitably in TV there are lots of downfalls and lots of pressures, and I got an eating disorder when I was in London, so which was really difficult because, you know, TV puts 10 pounds on you, and then it was like, well, actually you have to fit in these clothes, and everyone around you is so conscious of what they're eating, and I love food, you know.
Yes, of course.
So there was some issues there for a couple of years, and then I moved to CITV, and I had my own show on Sky One and a radio show, and then a music producer came and said, actually, I think you'd be really good releasing this single. So I released this single with the guy from Fats and Small. I don't know if he sung Hey, What's Wrong With You?
Yes, I know that one.
So that's the only one anyone knows. So yeah, released that, and then that was a whole other learning journey. My manager stole tens of thousands of pounds from me, but I was touring, doing Party in the Park, 100,000 people, you know, on stage with all of the like top A-list singers and stars. So amazing experience, taught me a lot. And then I realized from there, I want to help other children. The experiences I've got were incredible, but I hated waiting on other people to give me opportunities. I'm a bit of a control freak, and I was very lucky for kind of 6-7 years that I was always in a constant presenting job, which is very rare. As a presenter, you normally get, you know, a series or a show, but I was in a constant, you know, full-time contract. So when I came out of all those and I was going for auditions, you know, I went for years ago, when I'm a Celebrity first started, and it was on I'm a Celebrity on ITV2 for the presenter, you know, the behind the scenes bit, not Anton Deck, obviously. And I went to the audition, and the producer was like, amazing. And you know, when I felt I'd done really well. I'd done everything I could. I was really confident, did all the questions. I thought, well, yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm all right there. And my agent called and said, yeah, they really loved you, but they've gone with Kelly Osbourne. And I was like, that was a turning point, because I was like, I can't compete. And she had not keeping up with the Osbournes. She had this huge,
she's
you know,
so popular as well.
Huge, it's like reality show.
It must be such a big, like, crazy industry where it's just, you must have a massive turns all of a sudden, just like, and I find that it must have been like on your toes a lot. Am I going to get the gig? Am I not?
So it was, and I didn't like that. So I took control of my own career, decided I wanted to create great opportunities that I had for children, but look after them. You know, I wanted to make sure the contracts were right, so they didn't get ripped off like I did. I wanted to make sure that they knew that the eating was right, and that their image wasn't everything, and to be supported in that way. So long story short, that's how I started Ology 18 years ago. Yeah.
I can so imagine you just as that coach for young people getting into this industry. I know on our last few podcasts we had on an actress, and she was saying there's so much pressure from a young age, like especially when you go to stage coach to all these schools. I'm sure, Claire, you know a lot about this, but it's so much pressure for young minds, and there's so much eating disorders are rife. And I think for someone would feel safe coming to your agency, knowing you've had that experience as well, and you can.
Well, I mean, you can't control everything, can you? But I'm sure,
of course,
Claire, you'll appreciate it. You know, you can only give them the best you can. I think because I've got that awareness and mindfulness of the downfalls. You know, I spoke to a mum the other day who's somebody's on a big show, and I said, about, you know, obviously I don't want to go too much further, but I was like, just keep an eye. You know, I've seen a few things. She's like, no, it's absolutely fine. I'm like, just telling you.
Yeah.
You know, like. I think you should keep an eye. So I think everything's fine. But I'm like the mother hen.
And how many kids do you have? Like how long have you been doing this for?
Oh, 17 years.
No
18 years. Coming to 18 years, yeah.
And so, have you got a lot of kids? Because I see that a lot of you, because you're managing that page as well, and then you're Supernova, and then you've got so much other stuff going on. It's incredible. I don't know how you multitask, like, because you always seem, and when I see you at yoga and you just always seem so balanced and calm. How do you keep such a straight head? Like when you've got all this.
I promise you, Jermaine would not say that. No way. And I do not want to give that off. I feel bad that I give that air off.
No, that's good though, because even, I mean, obviously,
it's not reality though.
It's, and we were talking about this on our last podcast as well, like Instagram versus reality. But I think a lot of people like see someone's life and they're like, oh, they just got it easy. You know, they've got it right. They're in these amazing places around the world. But it is important to say, like, life is tough. And especially when, like we talked about at the start, when we're trying to manifest things, it's not just as a mindset thing. You have to be actionable and you have to be putting in the work. And would you say it stems down to discipline? Have you always been quite disciplined with your time? And
do you know what? Yeah, I think I've always, when Jermaine used to play football, people always, it was such a pain to hear, but people always used to say, oh, why are you working so hard? Why are you doing that? Because none of the other, no, I'm whispering, none of the other wives would work. Just me. But I think because it's my passion as well. And I'm you know, I'm very grateful for the situation that I'm in. I am able to live my passions and start the businesses that I've been able to start. But I've worked from 13. You know, I've worked in hairdressers and fruit shops, and yeah, I know my fruit. So yeah, I've always been proud of the fact that I know my fruit.
You're a hard grafter then from day one.
Fruit shop days, yeah. But yeah, I've always just wanted to work, and I think it might be in you, or what you've learned from your parents. Or that desire to achieve. I love psychology, so I have thought about this quite a lot actually. When people are like, "Why are you working so hard? Why? What do you need?" And I like that sense of achievement and accomplishment. I don't necessarily think it's something that I'm trying to cover. I think I just like to achieve things.
It's an interesting topic, isn't it? Because I was thinking about this. Someone said to me yesterday, like, oh, well, you know, you're nearly in your third trimester. Why don't you stop? Like, you don't need to keep doing so much. And I enjoy not that I enjoy being busy all the time, but I enjoy, you know, teaching my yoga and doing my birth workshops and managing the cafe and doing like multiple things. And I think we don't have to be stuck with just one. And being a mother, of course, that is such a gift.
Yeah.
However, I think as mothers, sometimes we need other things that we can focus our mind on. And
I think also it's about creating, it's almost being creators of other things. I think it's so important. So I juggle multiple things, but I like birthing ideas and developing them and seeing how far they can go and who can I connect with along the way. Because you meet so many incredible people along the journey, and it can be really unexpected. And these people then stay in your life forever, and they teach you so many lessons along the way. So for me, yeah, I'm a serial multitasker. I managed to wash my hair today, although I look like I haven't for 3 months, but I assure you I have washed my hair.
It looks lovely.
You know, it's sort of juggling it all and finding that space. I mean, right now I'm feeding Fearne as we're doing this podcast, and it's a major juggle in life, but it's also knowing that you can create these other things, and you've done something other than just living your own life under someone else's umbrella and what they've created, you know?
Yeah,
I think for me and Claire, like, oh, sorry, I'm going to say being of service to others as well. Like, this is why we created this podcast. We want to, educate people, not saying that we know the answers, just that we'd love to bring guests on from a wealth of different backgrounds that people can just get little nuggets of information. Oh, I'm going to try that today. Oh, that's inspired me to go on that walk, or try that food. And I think it's important, isn't it?
I think happiness is multifaceted, isn't it? And you can't just do one thing. I think it is about, I think listening to Jay Shetty the other day, and love his podcast. And I think it is about doing a variety of things. And like you say, one of them being driven by purpose. And I think, again, I've been quite conscious to start both businesses from a place of purpose. Like, I want to help children have incredible opportunities. Yeah, there's a business behind that, but there's all a massive amount of integrity. And the same with Supernova. I genuinely want to help. And I think that's the drive, even if it's subconscious, on the days that thinking, I can't do this is just too much. And I'll get a message and say, oh my God, thank you so much. I've been able to go out the house since having Supernova because my anxiety's gone. And I think, right, no, that's why I'm doing it. This is the drive, because you've got to go back to basics and the purpose behind it.
And also, I wanted to ask as well. Oh, sorry, Clive.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if like for top tips as well, so would you say, I know obviously you've got your amazing adaptogens and things in your products. Maybe we can touch on that as well, like the best herbs you think, maybe the best adaptogenic herbs that you think we should be taking daily. And then I thought as well, as we come to the close of the episode, talking about maybe we could talk together about our top health tips for our listeners as well.
Yes. So, which first? Adaptogens?
Well, yeah, adaptogens. Tell us what are your favorites.
So obviously I researched the whole, Ayurvedic, medicinal mushrooms, adaptogens, superfoods when we were developing the blend. And obviously we've put the ones that I think are most relevant and they're most studied scientifically. I love science. I studied science, A levels, but I wouldn't really say I've got a scientific mind. I'm far more about, does it work? Do you feel it works? Do you see the results, as opposed to in a lab, So I went off on a tangent then, sorry. So favorite adaptogens, let's focus, Laura. Chaga, massive. It's medicinal mushroom. It's massive, the highest antioxidant in the world, basically, on the ORAC scale. Antioxidants, which again, people throw about, but lots of people don't really know. They fight free radicals. Free radicals cause disease and aging, bitsy faithless to disease, but they fight disease, basically. So we want to be putting so many antioxidants in our bodies, don't we? Chaga is the highest source. Again, there are lots of different types. We go for wild organic chaga. Ours is grown on birch trees in the base of the Chiang Mai Mountains in China because there's an abundance of it. We tried to source it from Scotland, but we would have just wiped out the whole crop, which wouldn't have been sustainable. But pros and cons, aren't there? But it's believed that if chaga is grown on the actual tree, it takes the strength and the vital energy of the tree as well. So chaga is my number one. Then ashwagandha is probably the most scientifically studied adaptogen, and it's proven to reduce stress and anxiety by up to 70%, which I just think is insane.
Okay, ashwagandha's like
silent.
It's okay.
I think someone's trying to call me on my. It's the Ology
like feel
actually.
Good, isn't it? Just feel good factor though. Ashwagandha. We had a latte in the cafe called Happiness Latte that we just put ashwagandha drops in, and it's so powerful. Like people generally came to me like, "What is that?" Like that works, Yeah.
And I think, like you say, the drops are great. And that's what I do with my daughter. If she's feeling a bit, she's a complete warrior. Bless her. I'm the opposite. I'm a warrior, so she probably just pick it up from me. I try not to. But I'm sad. Don't worry, it's fine. Don't do it, because I try and go the opposite with her. I think naturally she's like me. So I do put ashwagandha drops if she worries in her drink. Ashwagandha, camu is the highest source of vitamin C. It's a little berry from the Amazon rainforest. So I think that's great for boosting immunity, and it's also an adaptogen, so it keeps your body in balance and in homeostasis.
And around this time of year as well, like winter, I think we need to flood ourselves with more vitamin C. I think we always think of like oranges and grapefruits, and actually there's so many kind of root sources that we can go to. It's amazing.
Do you know what I was reading now? I was a bit of a geek and reading like the backs. We got some new testing for the amount of vitamin C in Supernova, and I was looking at the back of orange. It was a not from concentrate, squeezed orange. these oranges, and the amount of vitamin C in Supernova is the same as a glass of orange juice.
No
which
way.
You'd never think, would you? It's 180% if you recommend your daily allowance in one portion of Supernova. But the good thing, and same as oranges, but if you have ascorbic acid, vitamin C, it's synthetic, so it's not bioavailable to your body. So your body doesn't recognize it as properly as, natural whole food sources, which is
also when you have a glass of
about.
orange juice, I don't know about anyone, but if you have any allergens, and I had IBS for many years before I went vegan, and that was a big trigger for me, like high sugar, all of a sudden having a massive glass of orange juice. So if you have a powder with like some more grounded herbs in, it just makes you feel like you're more balanced for longer than just these sugar highs.
I have a question. Can you take Supernova when you're breastfeeding?
No, we get asked this all the time. Oh gosh. No, well, I say no.
I mean, it's personal choice ultimately, isn't it?
I have to advise you not to take it, but purely because there isn't enough research on taking therapeutic levels of adaptogens whilst breastfeeding. That is the only reason. So there are reasons why you shouldn't take it in pregnancy, because there's a lot of detoxing effects in it, which you don't want when you're pregnant. But breastfeeding, the only one I can think of, I mean, speak to a medical herbalist, but is the cacao and the matcha are very stimulating. So you don't want your baby to be maybe
drinking
matcha milk.
Well, they say this about a lot of things. Like, I have it all the time in the cafe. Can I have this? Can I have that? And it's like, like you said about matcha. But if you think about some things that people are having, like, or if they're drinking alcohol again, or different other things, and I think just having a little bit is obviously you have to follow the recommendations, but it seems like it's on every product. Don't have this because you're breastfeeding or pregnant.
And they just don't want to, exactly. They just want one. And I hate that we have to put it on, just legally, we've got to put it on.
Oh, you just got to trust your intuition, I think, with those things. And is there any others that you'd really recommend then that you try and have? Obviously it's in your product, but
there's not in Supernova. What I like echinacea in the winter, like I don't know if we said that. I do make some kind of crazy super cocktail in the winter, which we're just running out of, which is chaga, echinacea, rosehip. I'm like some weird forager. I'll go out and pick them. Kids think I've lost my mind. Echinacea, chaga, ginger, garlic, chili.
It's garlic's gross. The best, isn't it? It's like
it's a gross tonic, but you know what? I think I don't take any other supplements. I used to take so many, and I think the thing, like with most of them, like ashwagandha especially, it absolutely gross, isn't it? If you tasted just the powder, oh my god, it's I think it translates as horsetail, which is
you've done well to make it actually so taste nice with all these things in.
It is awful.
Well, we used to go foraging for chaga. There's some chaga? Alderley Edge had a little bit in at the edge. And Chris managed to find some, but it was a long process. So you had to boil it and things. But it was the first time, because he's a mushroom. He was a mushroom farmer, and he was surprised to find it. But it's quite hard to find, isn't it, in England?
So I'd love to go on a mushroom foraging course. I keep saying every birthday or Christmas, I'm like, because we've got a little bit of land, and then we have so many mushrooms growing, and every year I'm like, I wonder, I could make the best stir fries, and
but it's knowing the right mushrooms, because there's some you've got to be with someone that really knows what they're doing, because
and trust them.
I'm quite lucky with Chris. I'm like, come on, Chris, what can we have them?
Of course. Oh my gosh, I need to come with you.
I was going to ask as well, so top tips. So if I was someone new to like getting into wellness, and for anyone listening, like it could be anything, like from getting out in nature, wellness, your kind of daily rituals. If you could give maybe a few top tips that really help you stay on a good path.
Yes, right. I would say body brush. I love body brushing. Jermaine's the biggest wimp. I like brush his arms. I'm like proper scrubbing, getting my blood circulating, the lymph going. I love it. It really gets me in a good mood in the morning. I'll do like 20 seconds of cold shower. Again, that'll like really change my mindset. Hate it. Absolutely hate cold water. But it switches my mindset, and I get out and I'm, buzzing. Supernova every day is like a daily non-negotiable now. Tongue scraping. Do you tongue scrape?
Yes, I do, but sometimes I forget. But I try to.
it's so satisfying though. Like every morning, I'm like, oh, right.
And it's surprising how much comes off, and you're like, oh gosh.
Exactly. I try and do it. I think you're supposed to do it before you even swallow or talk, aren't you? So you're not swallowing that first bit of
Well, on my yoga teacher training, we had to do it like for
oh really?
It was that 30-day program, and you had to do like an oil massage, deep, and like the skin brushing, and like the tongue scraping. It was like, I mean, I'll tell you what, I've never felt so good after that routine. It was so good.
Do you know what? They're so simple. Like these are in our 10-day reset book that I wrote as well. They're so simple, really. Yes. You just get into it, takes seconds. And if you just get into these little habits, and just try and get outside. I don't work out every day. I should prioritize it. I don't want to say I've not got time, because I said to Jay today, I've not got time to go to the gym today. And then I thought I could have got up at 5:30, 6 and gone. I could have, but I chose not to.
But sometimes it's saying no to some things so you can say yes to the better things. And like, I think that you do so much already. You keep such a balanced lifestyle, and I'm just so grateful to have you on, and like to kind of bring it to a close, the podcast. I would love to, we always do a little manifestation card. I know when you come to my yoga, you like these as well. I brought the moon deck today, but I thought it might be nice. Like, have you got any visions for 2023? Is there anything like you've got intentions ahead you want to share, or should we ask the cards?
Oh gosh, I'm not ready for this question. There was something this morning, not really relevant, but I've been thinking.
It changes daily though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, something that I've been trying to manifest, and it's quite a big one. It's nothing to do with work. It's like a private, personal thing, but personal life thing, you know. And somebody called me this morning out of the blue to say that there might be an opportunity. I thought, oh my God, talk about manifesting. Yeah, some kind of house.
Putting that out there.
A house. So is it? Yeah. I'm making it sound. You know, it's some kind of house that I really wanted. And the guy called me this morning. So yeah. I don't know.
Transition to that. Well, let's see if the cards tell us some more.
I don't know. Oh gosh. No, I don't know.
Let's see. Like, so we need some guidance for today. All right. Oh, this is lovely. So my home is a sacred space full of beauty, inspiration, and protection. How nice is that?
So maybe it says my home, isn't it?
Because you just said about a house, so maybe it's that home.
How weird.
Well, yeah, I think I know what the message is there, actually, just to interject. Basically, you've got to be happy in where you are right now and love every aspect of the home you're in order to get to the next home that you're wanting to be in. So you've got to fall back in love with where you are right now. So I think that's what it's sort of telling us. And I think that can be applied to lots of circumstances, but certainly you fall in love with the house you're in right now, and then the other one will come.
Because we're going through that as well. Me and Claire are looking at transitioning to, well, not obviously together, but within our own family lives. And, you know, we're lovely, like looking for a new start, a new place to come, manifest a home. But we have to have patience with these things, don't we? And it'll just come when the right time's right.
Yeah. And I love with that card as well, like you were saying, Claire, it might be to do with being where you are. I'm a big believer in being present in the moment, rather than thinking, right, I really want to go and do that. Next year, I'm going to do that. Next month, I'm going to do that. And just being present where you are and appreciating where you're at now. Otherwise, you can't, you know, the present's all we have, really, haven't we? The past has gone and the future is yet to come. So,
acceptance. I think that is so important. Like just accepting where we are. We live in, I think, because of social media and there's so much buzz going on that we always need to achieve. But what if we just turn in today and go, look at us, we're grateful, we've got our family around us, we've got beautiful weather outside and nature, and life's really good, really. And if we've got a health, that's what's important, isn't it?
Totally, that's the priority. I get my kids to say 3 things they're grateful for at the bedtime every day, and a lot of the time they're like, oh God, it's so boring. I'm like, no, I'm just grateful to be able to lie here with you, you know, and so yeah, I try and get them to do that.
Mine have only just started accepting these cards, I think, because I do them every day. They're like, so now every nighttime they pick a card, and I was like, finally they're starting to accept a little bit of this spiritual stuff.
Oh, a lovely ritual.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think we're going to have to draw it to a close.
Just talk forever.
It's been so good. It's been so good. I've kept having to put my mic on mute because my little gurgling baby here would have interrupted all your wonderful information and conversation. So I'm sorry I've not interjected as much today.
Really?
But I've really enjoyed our conversation.
We were so grateful to have you on. I think it was naturally coming to a close there anyway. And yeah, I just look forward to, well, I'm sure I'll see you soon at some yoga class.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
you so much for inviting me. I don't feel like I've got much to say or much pearls of wisdom, but it's just nice to chat with like-minded people, isn't it? So
no, it's been amazing. There's been loads of wisdom there, and I know that our listeners all agree. So yeah, have a lovely day ahead, and thanks so much, Laura, for coming on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.